All right, so this is the agenda for the day. We'll start by doing a little recap, a refresher of the week two material, so you guys can remember that's the data selection within cells and ranges, writing data into cells and ranges, copying, pasting, that type of material. And then today we're going to get into message boxes and input boxes. So this is what gives a user a bit more interactivity with the with the code, but without actually being in the code. So you can have like pop-up boxes that will let you input variable values. And then we're also going to do, and this is going to be the bigger part of the class, assigning data to variables. So we'll talk about the different types of variables that exist within VBA and how we can assign data to them. This is going to be really quite necessary as we go forward. There's really never a macro I create where I don't, at the top of the page or at the top of the macro, begin by naming and identifying my variables. So we'll get into that. So I think it should be a good day. I guess this is probably the last day before we get into the real, I guess what I would call like real coding, more exciting stuff where we are going to be using if-then statements and loops in weeks 4 and 5. So this is kind of still easing us in, and then next week, that's what we should all be looking forward to when it'll really get exciting. So I guess we'll begin with our refresher. And I had an idea that instead of me doing the refresher, would you guys be okay with one of you sharing out your screens, and maybe you can demo building a macro that we worked on last time? So Annabelle, not to put you on the spot, but can I ask you to share out with us?
What do you want me to do? Just create a macro like the first one, the first week?
Yeah, so I mean, hopefully, and you can have Nan help you as you build it, but I was thinking, like, just to start it off with something easy, you can create a macro
Yeah,
that
sure.
enters data into a cell. So I'll stop presenting. Why don't you share out with us?
Um, Let me see.
I wouldn't remember.
Yeah, the moment I got like, what?
Yeah, so didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I think that this
Oh,
could
that's okay.
help with making it a little more interactive.
Yeah, okay. Do you want me to just copy paste? That-
Yeah, so I don't see your screen yet. Yeah, you can just open up an Excel file. I was thinking go into developer and then maybe create a macro, which you can build the hello world macro, maybe in just cell A1. So let me know when you're sharing
Yeah.
with us.
I
Now can
can
you
see
see?
the screen.
Yep.
Yeah, I can see the screen.
All right.
So I'll try to let the two of you work together, and we can build some so maybe yeah, in a new module. So I'll let the two of you work together to build one out, but let's see what you can come up with. So maybe in cell A1, enter hello world.
Uh,
So Nan, feel free to jump in if Annabelle has any questions.
Hello. Uh,
I think what he's saying that I put a hello in the A1.
yeah, I know. I'm just naming
Oh,
the
sorry.
subroutine hello as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rich, hello. No, I kind of forgot that one. Right? It's amazing.
So
You do select.
recall,
No.
yeah, so recall first that there's two different ways of selecting a cell. You have the range and you
Yeah, the
have
range.
the cells method. So why don't you try the range one for this?
No.
Yeah.
Is that correct? No?
Yep.
Yeah.
Then is it select here, right? No.
So
Yeah, dot select, I think.
so then for entering data, so if you hit select, that will select
That
that cell.
would
But
select that one.
but if we want to
Okay.
enter data in it, you can do dot value
Oh, okay.
and then set that equal to the string that we want to enter in it.
So value, but then from the range or from the different.
So so at this point we can set the value. So you can set the range of A1 dot value equal to hello
Equal to,
world.
right? That's better.
Yep.
Equal to, then world. I don't need the
Yeah. So then you can enter your string here.
But
And then let's
right.
give that a run.
All right.
Hey, nice. All right, now, so just so we cover both ways of entering data, maybe Nan, you can walk Annabelle through this one. The method of doing it with the cell as the reference. So, do you want to give that a shot? Instead of using the range A1, you can do the same type of procedure, but using the cells method of selecting the cell.
And then you will do the range, give the cell, so you will do the range.
The range or
Yeah,
by
the
cells?
range, then in parentheses of cells.
So, we
Right?
don't have to do the
Oh,
range. I was thinking
okay.
of
Then you just do the cells. Sorry, cell, cells. SELLS.
Cells.
In parentheses, and then give the row and the columns.
so you can maybe pick a different cell, not A1 again. So let's do
Yeah.
let's try B2 for this one.
This one doesn't require.
But think about it in the R1 C1 format. So it's not B2,
Okay.
but it's the row and then the column.
2.
Yeah,
So that'll be
row.
2, comma 2, something like that.
Yep.
All right. Yeah.
The dot select.
Select or again value.
Yeah.
Select.
Select.
What's the value?
No. It's so from
select.
here on, it's the same as above. So it's dot value,
Yeah.
and then whatever string you want to enter in.
Let's just do that again. Yep.
And then run it. Yep. So nice. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we want to refresh upon. Did you guys have any other questions from last week that we want to go over again?
Yeah, I do. When you copy, if I want to copy from sheets 1, so like when I finish sheets 1, I want to copy my result on sheets 1 to sheets 2.
Okay.
What is the best way to do that?
Do I stop presenting then?
Maybe Nan, we can have you
wants
walk
to take
through
it. Okay.
Yeah, so Annabelle, why don't you stop, Nan? You can present and we can walk you through how to do a copy and paste from sheet 1 to sheet 2.
Oops. Hold on. I don't move this one up. There you go. Come on.
Is there a select sheet?
Be able to see everything.
So I can't see what you're sharing. Are you trying to share out right now?
Yeah, I'm trying to share, but for some reason my screen just blank out.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, there. We can see it.
See, so this is from the class 2 we had.
Okay.
Right? So in here, so let's just start the second one. Start from here. Is
Okay.
that okay?
Yeah, sure.
So cut and paste values. Cut and paste. Actually, there's more than that. Okay, let's just do this one. So if I want to copy sheets, active sheets, which is this sheet, to this
Hmm.
sheet, okay?
Okay.
Do I have a value? Do I have? Okay, so I don't have that. Okay, so back here, I want to copy and paste. I want to do the sheets. Sheets. So range.
So are you saying you want to copy range A1 to A10
No, I
to
want to
sheet
copy
2?
sheets.
Oh, you
So
want
no, I want to copy entire sheet. So what's the best way to do that?
to,
Do I
let's see. You want to copy like all
can I do sheets one,
that, I don't
active
know.
sheet?
Hmm.
The whole
That's a,
content, you want to copy the whole content of the
Yes,
sheet into another
yes,
sheet. Hmm.
yes.
let's see. I actually haven't done that, so I might
Oh,
have
okay.
to record a macro and see how it works. So you want to copy the entire content of the sheet or the sheet
Yes.
itself?
It's
Um,
the sheet itself. See, like okay, so this the entire thing. So whatever, regardless whatever the result, it's just this sheet. I want to copy this sheet to the second sheet.
okay, so let's give it a try. So from here, let's actually just try recording a macro.
Oh,
So
okay.
so you can go back to the workbook and try
Okay.
recording that. Save it into, yeah, you can call it like copy sheet, and then make sure it's in this workbook, not the personal macro workbook.
Okay.
Okay, so now we can see that it's recording. So select all. So we're just copying the contents, not the sheet
Yeah.
itself. Okay. So now that you've done that, hit stop
Oh
recording.
no, I don't want to do that. Sorry. Okay, let me
Uh,
stop this. Okay. Sorry about that. So when you mentioned, I said, oh yeah, I don't want to do that. Okay,
okay.
so let's
So,
start it again.
before you start it, just hit escape so you don't have the copy selection
Oh, okay.
still, because it'll recognize like where you are. And maybe just select cell A1. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
now record macro. Uh,
Copy sheet. Let's do this.
you might need to give it a different name. Yeah, that should be
Yeah.
fine.
Okay. So this
So
workbook.
hit OK. And then
So I
if
want to do
you
this.
no, so if you go to sheet 1 down at the bottom,
Okay.
um, and
Sorry.
click Control, and then click down your mouse, like hold down Control while dragging the sheet over to a new location. That should copy it. Have you done that before?
No.
So Control, hold down Control, click sheet 1, and then drag it to like the other side of sheet 3. And that should uh, okay, so I guess try another approach. Go to sheet 1, right click it, um, and then
Oh yeah, we can do this.
click move or
Move
copy.
to copy. So what I want to do is this. I want to do this copy.
Oh, so you
Okay.
just want to select that range and copy
Right.
that range.
Copy. And then, oh, let's go to 3. And then I want to do like this. The second thing I want to do this.
Oh,
That's what I
okay.
want to do.
Oh, okay. I was confused. You were saying you wanted to copy the sheet itself, but I guess you just wanted to do that range.
Yeah.
So that's easy.
So I
Um,
do stop.
yeah, do stop recording.
Okay.
All
If
right.
I go to my workshop,
Okay.
so that will this one.
Uh,
Oh,
no, it
wait
should
a
be
minute.
within one of the
Where is
modules.
one?
Uh, I so go up to the top where you have, if you go to the top of your current module where you are,
Mm-hmm.
see where it says copy and paste sheet, and there's a drop down menu. It's like the top right corner of your screen right now. Uh, far to the right, it's within the window where you have, yeah,
Oh, this one.
yeah. So if you click there, you can see all of the macros that you have. Um, and I'm trying to see if any of them have the same name as the one you just created.
We did
Ah,
the copies,
oh,
paste.
oh, you know what
There's
it
a
is?
copy sheet.
We're in a different module. So go back to the left and click module one, down a little bit. So the module one is what just got created. If you
It's this one.
double click on that, nope, up a
Wait,
little
it's
bit.
this one.
Yep, double click on that. Okay, and then these are the
I
new
think the
macros you just
last.
created. Now you can see that
Oh yeah, this one.
because we did a little extra clicking around,
Yeah, yeah,
we
yeah,
have
yeah.
additional rows that we might not
Okay,
need
so
there.
there is a sheet. Okay, so sheet one. No, no. Okay, so I think it's this one. Wait a minute.
So I believe the content of this macro that's actually necessary is from where it says, yeah, that row, range A1 to C23, select, and then you copied the selection, and then
Mm-hmm.
you went to sheet 3
Three.
and range A2, and then you selected it and pasted it. So
So this piece.
delete everything that's above that, because that was superfluous to what we did. Okay, so now that macro, if you were to run this, it should copy and paste from sheet one into sheet three. That,
Should I clean them out first?
yeah, so why don't you clean it out? You also have to start on sheet one. Okay, so let's give that a try.
Cool.
Nice.
Yes.
So that's one way to do it.
Okay. So copy sheet range from this to this and selection dot copy, then she's copy three. So if I rename this sheet to something else, so then in my macro I need to put the true tab name, right?
Yeah, correct. The macros are not dynamic like the workbook is, so that when you
Mm-hmm.
change a sheet name or you insert a row, it's not going to auto update. So you have to make sure that whatever exists here is identical to what's in the workbook. So
Okay.
if you change the sheet name, you have to change it here too.
Yes, this. I'm going to add this to my term. Because every time I have to copy, after I finish all my macro, then I have to copy to different sheet, then work on that sheet. Then I have to copy, then from that sheet, I have to filter to different job level, then copy to different sheet. That's what I want. So so next things I want to do is after this class, and you're going to have all the complex one, then I need to know how to do the filter, then copy my filter to different sheet.
Right. Cool. Well, I hope this works, and
Yes, yes, yes.
it looks like it'll be good. So
Yeah.
now that we've done a little bit of a refresher, I want to make sure we have time to actually cover the material for today. So why don't you stop sharing? I will share out with you guys.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering, do, are you guys aware if my recording is still gonna be running? Have you used the recording feature within Link?
No.
All right. Well, it looks like it's still running. I hope that it covers what's on the screen as well as the audio from today. Um, so I brought a data set, which I think is going to be useful. So we're not just using made up data anymore. Um, we have so this is American colleges. So it's an American college ranking sheet. We have university name, ranking, and then I actually added in column C and D, so it's the acceptance rate and tuition, just to give us some more data. But it's this is C and D are made up. A and B are actually real columns. So I'm gonna send this to you guys quickly so that you can follow along. So I'm thinking, sorry, that's the wrong folder, but I can probably send it to you guys right through Link. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, let me know if you guys can download that.
Yep.
All right, so I'm just gonna make my macros right into this workbook. I guess I'd suggest you guys do the same unless you want to copy and paste this table into the other workbook that you're using, so you keep all your macros in the same location. But I mean, it's your call. You can always transfer them over later if you want to make sure you have them saved for your references. But I'm just going to go right from here. So everyone can see this, and are you guys pulling it up on your end?
Yeah, I have it already.
Okay, great. So I'm going to open up the developer tab for this workbook. Let's see where it is. I guess I have a lot of workbooks open. So it's the demo 3 workbook. I'm gonna add in a module into this one, so we have a new blank slate for adding our macros. And I guess I'll go split screen again, so you guys can see both of them. Okay, so today, like I said earlier, we're going to be covering message boxes, input boxes, and assigning variables. So I'm going to kind of work on these all together, more of a hybrid approach. So I'll be discussing or building macros using all of them or some combination of them at once. I think it'll make it more interesting. So we're going to begin by a macro, which is going to pull up, it's going to pop up a message box, and we can show it's not going to be super useful, but we can show the college name within a given cell. So I'm going to call this call it college name. And so the first thing we're going to do here, and this is new to the class, we haven't done this before, but we're going to start by creating our variable. And I'll get into the different types of variables that can exist. But when you name them, they're always going to follow the same format. So it's going to be dim, and then we can choose the name of our variable. So I'll call it college underscore name, and then you write as, and then you can select the type of variable that you want it to be. So for the college names, they're just strings of text. So there's a few different types of variables. This is again what I'll come back to, but we're going to call the college name a string variable. So this is going to be a syntax that you see over and over again: dim, variable name, as, and then variable type. So maybe I can even write that out. Just as a comment, so we know that that's always going to be the syntax for naming our variables. And it's just a best practice to name all of your variables at the top of the macro that you're building, so that the reader knows where they are. If you need to go back, you know what variables you're using. So we'll come to this in a second. For this one, we just have the one variable that we're creating. So it's college name, and that's a string variable. So we can say that, let's say we want to select the first college in the list. So it's going to be range A2, and we are going to set the value of the cell equal to the college name variable. So college name equals range, and then we can use the same syntax we learned last week. So range A2 value. And so you can notice here, instead of setting the range equal to equal to a value like we just did with hello world. We're not setting the range equal to a value. We're setting a variable equal to the value of the range. Is that clear for you guys?
Hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
But
So,
only the cell?
what's that?
I mean, the range is on the only one cell?
Yeah. So for
Yeah.
now,
Okay.
we'll just
For
do it as
now.
a
Ah, okay.
single cell. In the future, well, next week or in 2 weeks from now, we can get into it where we loop through, and you can set the range equal or like the name of the variable and have it loop through all the items in a list. But for
All
now,
right.
it's just the one cell. Uh, so this we can see if we step through this macro. So again, the F8 key, I'll step through, and once we get past this line, so I forget if I showed you guys this, but if you hover over an item within the macro as you step through it, uh, you can see the value of it. So we actually haven't run this line yet, but after I run this, then the college name is going to show as American University. So hopefully you guys can see that on your end
Now,
as well.
after the. All right. Yes.
Do you?
Yeah.
So this is another one of the great features of VBA that you can step through and then see what your variables are getting assigned to. And this is a great troubleshooting mechanism because if college name was showing as anything other than American University, we know we'd have some trouble right now. Um, so I'll stop the macro. But now we know that we have the variable created. We're setting the
Wait,
variable.
can you hold for a second?
Oh, sure.
So when you say when I run the macro FA, when I hit FA,
Hmm.
okay, back to, so when I hit FA, they highlight the yellow's college name equal to range A1. And when I look at my Excel, it didn't do that.
It. What do you mean?
Well, now they did. Now they did. Okay, never mind.
Are,
Never mind.
are you okay? You caught up with us?
Yeah. Because I think, because my screen, I want to look at yours and look at mine. I think mine is kind of like screwed up.
Oh, okay. As long as
Yeah.
you're on the same page as us, let me know if you want me to slow
Yeah.
down.
I
Okay.
am. Well, I have the same macros you're showing, but
Okay.
I just, because when you do FA, then my prompt when I did FA, when I did an AND sub, I felt that my prompt, what is it, the highlight should be on A2, but didn't. That's why I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no. In this case, we're not selecting a cell, so it
Okay.
actually won't
Okay.
change in your workbook.
Okay.
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 So let's add one more new feature to this macro now, and this will be the message box one. So message box will pull up a pop-up box, and you'll see that in just a second when we get there, or when we run it. But you can put anything in the message box. It can be like a string, or it can be a variable. In this case, we'll do a variable. So you do MSGBOX message box, and then within it we can write college name, which is our variable. Um, and now sorry, are you guys following me still?
Yep.
Okay, so now this time when I run it, and you guys can do the same, we get a little pop-up
Yep.
box. It says American University. So it'll
Yep.
display whatever the name of the value is of that variable when that line of code is run. So you can see hovering over college name, it's American University, it's going to display that. Similarly, to make it a little more interesting, we can write, you can add in some text. So the selected college is, and then similarly to how you concatenate within an Excel formula, you can use the and ampersand symbol and concatenate here. So if we run this again, the selected college is American University. Um, so one thing you can notice is that if it's a string of text, you'll have to put it between quotation marks. But if it's a variable name, then you don't put it in quotation marks. And this is going to come up time and time again as we get into some of the more complex material. So remember the variable name, no quotes, and then if it's a string that you want to be kept, then you have to put it within quotes. Any
Yeah.
questions here?
No, and very important to use the space after,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it doesn't get.
Uh, cool. So this was kind of the first little piece of the puzzle, and I think we've picked up some good skills here. We have the variable naming, assigning the variable, and then even using the message box and using the variable. So I actually wanted to, before we get too much further, I was going to pull up a website that I found which shows a lot of the different types of VBA variables, and I wanted to point out a few that I use pretty regularly. And I think that the website will give a better explanation of it than me. So actually, this is not the one. And I can send this out so you guys can see the different types of variables that are available. There's a bunch, but really only a few of them I would say are pertinent to me and probably you guys as beginners. So we'll focus on those to start, but know that there's more out there. Um, so the type, and hopefully you can see this. It might be a little small, so I'll try to highlight the things I'm talking about. So we have the string data type, which is the one we just looked at. Uh, that's going to you're going to use the string variable if you're looking at letters, numbers, spaces, punctuation. That all can fall within a string variable. The string is one that I use often. It's pretty much just anything you would use free text for. So that's an important one to know. Um, you have the integer variable. So this is any integer, whole numbers. I guess here's the range that they give. So anything within that is going to be an integer variable. Um, you have double variables. So a double is going to be any any number that has, well, I use it for pretty much any number that's going to have uh, a decimal place, and you can see that it goes pretty far. It's like pretty exact with the decimals. So uh, double is for decimal numbers. You have a few other options. Long you can use for, I guess it's an integer that can be longer than the normal integer field. So those would be a few that I use most frequently. I can write them out here in a comment.
Hey guys, surprise, surprise.
I
Is it
saw
okay if
your pictures. I say, oh,
Yeah,
here
that's
is
unfortunate. They just let you know immediately that I'm here, right? In link. So, hey, no, is it okay, Zach, if I chime in for a second?
Yeah, yeah,
Sorry, I
go
just
for it.
couldn't resist and wanted to see how these are going. So, can see you guys are going through the variables right now, which
Hey, Chesmer, can you still hear us?
can you
Eh,
are you back?
Yeah, hey, I guess that was me that got cut out. Can you hear me?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. we can do
Sorry, I messed this up. Hopefully it wasn't me. I was just saying that, I remember back a couple of years ago I was doing a lot of coding already, and I totally omitted the whole variables area where you define them, and it can make a huge difference running some advanced cycles and all of that. So I can tell this is important and makes a big difference. So definitely great topic on the course outline. So Zach, do you have the course outline handy so you can just show me where you guys are this week?
I do, yeah. So we started out today with a little review of week 2, and these guys shared out their screens to give a little refresh. Right now we're doing, I was showing them different variables that I use most frequently, and then also pairing that with message and input boxes, which we haven't spent too much time on yet, but we'll get more into that.
So a little test or a quiz. So I don't know if Nan or Anibal. So Anibal, what variable would you use for text? I mean, for words and things like that. Just trying to assess the.
Are you talking about values equal?
I don't know. What variable would you use?
What you mean when I'm dimensioning?
Like if
string,
you got
I guess.
text. Yes, exactly. Wow, perfect. Nan, let me think about a question for you. Yeah, it will be something.
Sometimes, okay, before you ask the question, the only things, because I'm struggling is what Zach was showing, when to use this, when to use that, I think it's good to, he showed us how to do the copy, how to do the string, whatever the message boxes. So a lot of time for me, I probably will go back to the macro that he did in the class, and then we'll referring that, then I can get that piece, because a lot of times I want to do this. Okay, how do I do it?
Yeah.
So I have examples. So that's this.
Yeah.
Actually, this class I love it because now I know, because during the demo that I was asking Zach, how can I copy from one sheet, the value of the sheet from one to another? So we did that piece. I said, oh, that's perfect. That's what I want. A lot of time you link to what you want in your report, and it's perfect.
Yeah, exactly. And you actually partly addressed what I wanted to say. It's like you don't have to remember all of this. I mean, there is great resources out there, and I love how you had the Osgrid pulled up. I mean, I go there all the time. I don't code anymore. I just have Google open, and I describe what the macro should be doing, and then I grab it online, Same with variables. And the great thing about Visual Basic Editor is, I mean, if you use a wrong variable, it will scream at you right away. I mean, if you're trying to load a too big number that doesn't fall within the integer dimension, then it will let you know. Another quiz, real quick, and then I'm gone, I promise. Sorry, Zach, for messing up your session. So now, Nan addressed another one. So what about if I've got 35,000, number 35,000, and I'm using integer? Will it, or say 40,000, will it scream with me with an error or not? And anyone can answer.
You mean what? If you have a value of 1,000, you shouldn't have a problem.
40,000, and I'm using integer.
I don't know.
Integer. I don't think you should have a problem with that. As an integer?
And
40,000?
40,000, yeah. So, Zach, do you want to address that as an instructor?
Yeah, so I mean, maybe I'll flip back.
You guys failed. It's too big, I think. Let's see
40,000?
So the integer type will only cover the range between -32 and +32,000.
Yeah, okay.
So for a number like Chesmere just described, you have to use a long, which will go up to, I guess, 2 billion.
Zach, Chesmere, he just showed us. We haven't even read it yet.
Yeah, I know. That's the point I want to make. I mean, you failed, but anyway, you can always go online, right? That's the big point with VBA and any other coding language, I guess, So
when you ask a question, let me Google first.
Yeah, exactly. So, hey guys, I won't bother you anymore. Sorry for chiming in for too long. Hopefully you can still cover the rest, Zach. And I can see your recording, right? So we'll still be able to get this to Marianne.
Yeah, I think we should be okay. So I'll post it after.
So thanks. Good job, everyone. Keep on learning. This is incredibly helpful skill on this team. So I might surprise you next time or in 2 weeks, who knows, but keep watching, keep listening, keep coding. We're going to make a huge difference. All right?
You think we're IT?
All right. Well, take care, guys. Bye-bye.
All right, thanks,
Bye.
Jasmine. All right, so I'll pick up from there. Try to speed along a little bit because I know we're a little short on time with what I wanted to cover. But anyways, just to list out the different variables that I find to be most important. So you have string, integer, long, and that's what Chesmere was just saying. That's the one. It's similar to an integer, but will cover numbers that are longer than integers. And then double is ones that cover a decimal point. So these four, I would say I use like 99% of the time. There's a few others which you might need to touch, but remember these four. And I would say even amongst these, probably string and integer I use the most given the line of work that we do. But I'm sure others would debate that. So
what's the date? Is the date considered
a date?
Yeah, date.
Good question. Let's maybe I'll within this one, within this macro. So looks like date might be an option. I'm not sure how it would format it, but I think you might be onto something. So anyways, when you enter dim a variable as, and then you can scroll through this and see all the different options. So that's why Visual Basic Editor is a really great tool. Like you can see long there as an option. I suppose date is another option. There's a ton of things you can select. So I won't scroll all the way through it. But that's where you can know what your options are. Let's try one more. So we'll go back to our workbook. Here we go. So for this one, why don't we'll do something similar, but we'll do for a different column. So instead of using the college name, we can use the national ranking. So what variable should I use for this? Any ideas?
You dimming national ranking or you're
Sorry,
so
wrong thing there. So
Is that going to be
that can be an integer.
Yeah, integer because it's going to be some kind of like percent.
yeah, no,
Numbers.
Yeah, no, right on. These are rankings. They're going to be from 1 to 112 or so. So yeah, this is going to be an integer. So we'll set our variable, or we'll define our variable ranking as an integer. Ranking equals, and then we'll make this a little more interesting. Instead of it just being cell B2, we can make it so it's whatever the active.
The active cell?
Yeah, we can make it the active cell. So active cell value. So whatever the active cell value is, you can notice that, I mean, we could always make the active cell something in a different column, and then we'd get an issue here. But for the time being, let's just assume that we're using it properly. So ranking is the active cell value, and we'll again add our message box in. So we have ranking here. So I'll click down. Let's choose another college. We'll say Brown University, and let's run this macro. So number 14, that's good. So, and then let's say, all right, let's make it a little more interesting. We'll couple these together so we can have the college name, and it'll show the college name and the national ranking. So I'm just going to copy that the variable we created in the first macro. I'll add this into the second macro. So we now have the sub national ranking. Maybe I'll change this name. Ranking underscore name, because now we also have the college name. So now we have to set the values for both the variables. And for this one, let's say whatever is the active row, we'll set the variable, like we'll return the value for whatever the active row is. So now this requires a little bit of an extra step, not too much. So the active row is going to be the active cell. Maybe, I don't know, maybe this example is going to get a little more complex than I was hoping, but we'll go with it. So we can do cells. We will do, instead of the active cell value, we'll do the active row. Active cell row, comma, and then the ranking is in column 2. So let's see what happens here. I'm not sure what we're going to get from that. Oh, so that's good. So that's what we'd expect. So now it's not only looking at the active cell, but even if we're in a different column, it'll still show us, hopefully it'll return 14, because we're looking at cell 9, comma 2, and 9 is coming from the active cell row. Are you guys following me on this? This is
What's
go ahead.
no. What's the self? This is active self row, and then the 2 is because of the second row, or just what
So
is the 2 about?
so you can think about it as the the 2 is because we're looking at the second column to
Okay,
return the
all
national
right.
ranking. So you can think about the active cell dot row. That just returns a value. It's going to return the row where we are currently in. In
Right.
this case, it's going to return 9, comma 2, and then this looks really familiar to what we were doing earlier. But to make it a little more
Yeah. Oh, okay.
dynamic, we'll change it to the active cell row, and just
Mm,
for good measure, we'll also add value here, um, as we were doing earlier. So this is again just using the cells formula, but adding in a more dynamic piece. Nan, are you okay here too? I know this is a little trickier than where we were before.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And you guys can come back to this. I'll definitely send this out to you, and I would suggest stepping through it piece by piece. And so when you hover over a, a variable or another item, it'll show you what that equals. So this is a great way of learning. So active cell dot row, that just equals the number 9, which makes sense because if you look back at the workbook, we're currently in row 9.
right.
Okay. So
So
we'll
you're gonna
do,
say acceptance rate, and you'll use 3, and tuition you use
yeah, so
4. Yeah. Okay.
so to make it, we'll take it a step further. We'll add in the college name. Everything's the same here, except now we're not looking at column 2, we're looking at column 1. And then within the message box, we can return our college name, and then maybe I guess we'll put a hyphen between them. So now if we give this a run, Brown University 14. So that's good. And then you can see we can hop into another school, Cornell University, my alma mater. Hop into that, Cornell University 16. So that's the second step. Now we've done multiple variables, different types of variables, and also using them in a message box paired together. So any questions about this here?
Mm.
All right, great.
Mhm.
So let's just while we're at it, we'll do one more piece, and I'm going to add it to this same macro, so I don't have to do too much rework. But let's also add in the acceptance rate. So one more step. And what do you guys think we should call this variable? So if I go into the acceptance rate column, now we have a decimal here, or it's a positive number, but it also
That would
includes
be
a decimal.
Is it double?
A double?
Yeah, so we're gonna go with, let's try a double for this. Since it has a decimal, we'll want to go with a double here. And I can, once we complete this, we can see what would happen if we changed it to an integer or another variable type, and see what the issues would look like, or how it would differ from what we'll return here. So I will again just copy that so I don't have to do too much extra typing. Acceptance rate is in the same row but in column 3. Let's change the way we have the message box. So I'm not sure, have you guys used character 10 within an Excel workbook before as a line break? Familiar with that? No. So if you do character 10, that's going to function as a line break within Excel VBA.
Oh.
And so similarly, if you need a line break within a formula within a cell, it's the same thing, character 10. But when you do it in a Excel formula, don't ask me why, but it's CHAR, whereas in VBA, it's just CHR. So we'll do college name, line break, ranking, then we'll add another line break in, and we will do the acceptance rate. And let's give that a run. Oh, I guess I wasn't in the macro. So there we go. George Washington. Ah, well, it's kind of funky. We won't deal with it now because we're pretty short on time. It is showing it as a double, but it's showing it with.
Do you have to dimension some the number of decimals
Yeah,
that you can get?
yeah. I think there might be a way to round it, which maybe we can look at next time. I know we only have a few minutes left, and I still want to cover one more piece, but you can probably do a rounding. Actually, you know what? While we're at it, let's just see how you do that. So I believe if you can round, and then let's round it to 2 decimals. So that will round our number, but I have a feeling we're still going to get an issue. So now it's 0.12, which is a step better, but if we really wanted to show 12%, we could do 100 times that 0.12, and then we have to do one more step, which is adding a
Percentage. Yeah.
sign. So now let's try it for another school. If I run that, so that'll show Emory 3%. If I go back to George Washington, yeah, so that'll give us a nice 12%. So those are just a few tricks, a few different ways to format it and return an item within a message box. Any questions here?
Mm. Can you use formatting like as formatting? I mean, what I mean is instead of doing the 100, I mean, instead of doing the multiplication and then adding the percentage, can you do like format that? I mean, so you can, well, that's just
Yeah,
something that can be done later. I mean, it's not a big deal right now.
no. I mean, I'm sure there's a better way. It's weird the formatting's coming back. Maybe it's because it's a double. I don't know if there's a different variable to use with a percent. We can maybe between next class, I'll look back at that website and see if there's a better variable to choose for a percent. But for the time being, I mean, this is kind of a workaround approach. So yeah, we have that. But then let's say that instead of using a double, let's say I chose an integer and I'll get rid of some of this stuff. So it should show just the acceptance rate now as it was with that really long string. But if I formatted the acceptance rate as an integer instead, then let's see what happens. So now it'll round it to the nearest integer, which in this case is 0, because that's the percent. So that's just a place where you need to have the variables specified correctly. And similarly, it'll probably yell at you if you try to, let's see, if we change the college name to an integer instead of a string, it's going to give you a type mismatch because it's trying to name a string of text to an integer variable. So variables are important. I always have them at the top of my macro for ease of use. And then the nice thing about creating them and naming them within the macro is you now don't have to recreate the ranking if you want to use it in multiple places. You can just create the variable and then repeat that throughout the macro as it comes up. So I know kind of ran out of time a little bit today, so I had to breeze through the stuff at the end. I think this decently covers message boxes and the types of variables we use. I didn't get into input boxes today, so I'm thinking maybe to lead off the beginning of next class with that, if that's all right with you guys. But are there any other questions before we call it for today?
No, not right now.
No,
all right.
it's fine.
Great. Well, and Nan, like I loved your point that it's useful for you to learn if if you have questions that you're thinking about for your own work. So please, guys, come to class next time with some prepared questions. If there's a way that you think any of this could apply to things that you do, reports that you run, let me know and we can look through that together. But yeah, hopefully today was useful, and we'll talk again next week.
Thank you very much, Zach.
All right, thanks, guys.
Okay, bye.